Hunter Biden. Oh boy, where do we begin? Where does it end? We are still learning all kinds of stuff about his life and career. And what the heck was he doing for Joe Biden, his dad? A lot, apparently. I'd like to bring in John Solomon, one of the most important and successful investigative journalists in the country, founder of Just the News and a Newsmax contributor. John Solomon, welcome back to Newsmax, my show. How are you?
Great to be with you. Yeah, great to be with you, Greg.
Thanks again. So look, you have uncovered new emails. It appears as though Hunter Biden was somehow in the loop when his father was vice president. Take it away. What's happening here?
Yeah, let's all remember all the legal pain and trouble and acrimony we had when Hillary Clinton, we discovered, had a private email address. Well, tonight at Just the News, we are reporting that Joe Biden had his own private email address, a Gmail account, and he used it on occasion to forward information from the State Department, his official advisors and people in the office of the vice president, to his son, Hunter Biden. The one really specific episode, there was an American hostage or prisoner in Turkey in 2014. The State Department embassy in Istanbul had learned way in advance of the public that this man, this American, was about to be released. And Joe Biden forwards that information from the State Department through his private email account to Hunter Biden, the sort of actionable intelligence that most people would love to get if you've got foreign business deals like Hunter Biden. You can start trading in that information early. So for the first time, we are certain that Joe Biden has a private email address, and we know he used it to communicate with his son, in some cases, forwarding information from the United States government to his son through that private channel.
Wow. RobinWare456@gmail. That's Joe Biden's private email. Who knows if it's still in effect? I'm going to shoot him a message right now, see what happens. But a couple of things here. The email chain, I looked through it. You've seen it, of course. It's not classified. There's no indication. In fact, it says specifically it's unclassified, you said. So
that's right.
There's that to consider.
Yep.
Also, he's using Gmail, which suggests that, well, it's a Gmail server, not his own personal server, like the Hillary Clinton situation, right?
Yep. Here's where the law is important. Anytime you conduct any amount of government business as a government official, you have an obligation to preserve the records, even if you move them onto your private email account. So while this information isn't classified, it is government information. It is government conduct. And the question that we now have for Joe Biden is, did you do the right thing and preserve the emails? Remember, Hillary Clinton did preserve the emails. They had to be gotten by the State Department Inspector General and the FBI after the fact. And so there's a big question tonight about whether Joe Biden did that. So far, the Biden White House, Jen Psaki, have not given us an answer. But we have talked to many people who did know of the existence of that email and did use it during the Obama years.
So, and by the way, look, I know this was, I'm not talking about Hillary's situation because we know that she was up to something, but a lot of people do have multiple email addresses. You know, you can have a Just the News email account and an AOL account. I have a Gmail account.
Absolutely.
There's a Newsmax account, which I don't check as much as I should. People do that because sometimes it's easier to check the private email. There is the chance, and there's all kinds of stuff on the Bidens, but there is a chance that this is innocuous. Then again, maybe not, but there is a chance it's innocuous, correct?
Well, listen, it's innocuous in the sense that, you know, at this point, we don't see any classified information, so there's not a CIPA issue going on. But remember the storyline the Bidens gave us 3 years ago. I never did anything to help my son. Well, when you're forwarding State Department information to him about a non-public event of a man being released by Turkish authorities, you're providing useful information. Vice versa. There's another email where Hunter Biden goes to his dad and says, I want to get this guy as a detailee at the Treasury Department. Exactly the sort of conflicts of interest that we were told didn't exist. Now we know that Hunter Biden was asking favors of his father. And so the ethics issues don't go away just because you don't have a top secret email transmitted across Gmail.
No, totally. And if you are going to do stuff like that, you would at least do it on a private email. Now, this guy, Martin O'Connor, an American who found himself, he bought a sword in a bazaar in Turkey and then he's on the right there, he had trouble getting it out of the country, a customs issue, and he was thrown in jail. Now, we've seen movies about Turkish prisons. That's a very bad place to be.
Scary.
Very bad. So it would make sense that the American government, you know, would be moving to help a guy like Martin O'Connor, a pretty prominent.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, the only thing is that should the vice president have had the judgment to say, you know what, this is embassy business, sensitive international information about what a foreign government's about to do. I shouldn't be forwarding it to my son on an insecure Gmail account. But listen, this was embassy information. This was intelligence the FBI, the embassy had learned from his lawyer and was forwarding to the State Department, and somehow it gets to Hunter Biden. The optics and the ethics of this are still a wide open question.
Yeah.
And it disputes what Joe Biden keeps telling us. I never did anything for my son. Well, we know he did a lot. We know he met with some of his son's business affiliates in China, Mexico, in Ukraine, and now he's forwarding State Department insider information using a private email account. I think the Americans are smart enough to know what's going on here.
So, by the way, if you are an American in a Turkish prison, I don't know if it gives you a warm and fuzzy that Hunter Biden,
doesn't.
We have the picture of him in the bathtub enjoying a Marlboro or something like that. I mean, why this guy would be in the loop in 2014 on a diplomatic situation in Turkey, yeah, that is pretty extraordinary, and we need the answers, and you're going to get them. You're so good. John Solomon, award-winning investigative journalist
Greg.
from Just the News, and welcome to Newsmax again. Thank you, and to be continued.
Pleasure
We'll be
to
right
be
back.
here.
You bet. Bye.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.